The cafe fell silent the moment she spoke, her voice soft but steady. "Excuse me," the girl said, resting her crutches gently against the chair. "Can I share this table?" Daniel looked up, unaware that this single question would unravel the walls he had spent years building around his heart. Daniel Carter hadn't planned to stop at the cafe that afternoon. He usually avoided crowded places. Too many stares, too many questions, too many reminders. But his 7-year-old son, Noah, had begged for pancakes after school, and Daniel had finally given in. Life as a single father had taught him to choose his battles carefully, and pancakes were a small price to pay for seeing Noah smile. The cafe was warm, filled with the smell of coffee and sugar. Every table was taken except the one Daniel and Noah sat at. When Daniel noticed the girl standing beside them, he hesitated. She couldn't have been older than 23. Her brown hair was pulled back neatly, and her eyes held a quiet courage. One of her legs was gone below the knee, replaced by a simple prosthetic. She stood tall anyway, refusing to let her body define her presence. "Of course," Daniel said after a brief pause, standing to pull the chair back. "Please sit." The girl smiled, relief washing over her face. "Thank you, I'm Grace." "Noah," his son said immediately, beaming. "And that's my dad, Daniel." Grace laughed softly as she settled down. "Nice to meet you both." For a few minutes, they sat in a comfortable silence. Noah focused on his pancakes, while Daniel sipped his coffee. Grace stared out the window, her reflection faint against the glass. Daniel noticed her hands trembling slightly, as if she were bracing herself against something unseen. "I hope you don't mind me asking," Grace finally said, her voice cautious, "but is it hard being a single dad?" The question caught Daniel off guard. Most people avoided personal topics with strangers. He studied her face and saw no pity there, only genuine curiosity. "It's the hardest thing I've ever done," he admitted, "and the most important." Grace nodded slowly. "I understand that feeling. Different situation, but hard things change you." Her words stirred something deep in Daniel. He hadn't spoken openly about his struggles in years. After his wife, Emily, passed away from cancer 3 years earlier, Daniel had shut himself off emotionally. He worked, he parented, he survived, but he didn't live. Noah suddenly looked up. "Did your leg hurt when it happened?" he asked innocently. Daniel tensed, ready to apologize, but Grace smiled gently. "It did," she said honestly. "A lot. I lost it in a car accident when I was 16. Noah frowned. "But you're brave." Grace's eyes glistened. "Thank you, Noah." She went on to explain how the accident had taken more than her leg. It took her confidence, her dreams of becoming a dancer, and years of her teenage life. People stared. Some whispered. Others pretended not to see her at all. The hardest part wasn't learning to walk again. It was learning to feel worthy again. Daniel listened intently. For the first time in a long while, he wasn't thinking about bills, schedules, or responsibilities. He was simply present. Grace shared how she had grown up in a Christian home, how her faith had nearly collapsed after the accident. "I used to pray every night, asking God why He let this happen," she said. "I was angry. I still am sometimes." Daniel nodded. "I stopped praying after my wife died. I thought faith was supposed to protect us." Grace looked at him softly. "Maybe faith isn't about protection. Maybe it's about surviving the storm." Those words hit Daniel like a wave. He remembered Emily's last days, her quiet prayers, her belief that love didn't end with death. He had buried that memory because it hurt too much. Their conversation was interrupted when Grace's phone buzzed. She glanced at it and sighed. "I should go. Physical therapy appointment." Daniel stood instinctively. "It was really nice meeting you, Grace." She smiled again, but this time it carried something deeper, hope. "I'm glad I asked to share the table." As she turned to leave, Noah called out, "I hope I see you again." Grace paused. "Me too." Weeks passed, but Daniel couldn't forget that afternoon. Grace's words echoed in his mind, especially on the nights when loneliness pressed in. Slowly, he began praying again, not for answers but for strength. By chance, or perhaps something more, Daniel ran into Grace again at the same cafe. This time she wasn't alone. She was laughing with the barista, her confidence more visible. They talked again, then again after that. Coffee turned into walks. Walks turned into shared stories, shared prayers, shared healing. Grace met Noah properly this time, helping him with homework and listening to his endless stories. Noah adored her, not because of her strength, but because of her kindness. Grace still had hard days. Her leg ached. The stares hadn't disappeared. Daniel still struggled with grief and guilt. Healing wasn't instant and love didn't erase pain. But together, they learned that brokenness didn't disqualify them from joy, it made room for it. One Sunday morning, Daniel took Noah's hand and invited Grace to church. As they sat together, Daniel realized something profound. The table she had asked to share wasn't just in a cafe. It was a table of life, of pain, of hope, of faith. Grace had once asked a stranger for a seat. In doing so, she had given a single father his heart back. And Daniel finally understood. Sometimes, the bravest miracles begin with the simplest question. Can I share this table?